right, welcome everyone. My name is Jason, and this is Weird Reads. And I have a repeat guest here. It's been about a year and a half since he's been on,
Yeah,
and it's Radar DeBoard. Welcome back, Radar. How are you doing?
good. Glad to be back. It's been yeah, you're right, about 17, 18 months, right?
Yeah,
That's a year and a half. Yeah, that is a year and a half. My goodness.
and you know what? It's been a really crazy, depressing year and a half too.
Yeah, unfortunately, just not great for a whole lot of people. And that's not, contained to one country.
Hmm.
Um, Really just a world thing going on.
Well, you guys are really suffering right now in America.
Man, it is brutal here. I will say there have been glimpses and little signs of hope coming through as of late, but it really doesn't help that much when you see what's happening and what has continued to happening, and knowing like there's at least another year or two of it
Yeah.
before things improve at all. And I'm a student of history, not like actually college wise, but I love
I
history.
got my
And
PhD.
yeah, let me go pull it now. But I know a lot about like the cause and effect, what comes later, and a lot of the time, stuff that gets put in place, you don't really get struck by that until years down the line. And perfect example is Reagan and Thatcher, right? In the 80s, they
Mhm.
enact all these stupid faux science, supply side economics bullcrap. But it took forever for it to really kick in with all this deregulation and stuff. So it's unfortunate that like I don't know it's going to be rough,
Mhm.
unless things really kickstart in a good way 2 or 3 years from now. So, but it'll be interesting, not interesting, maybe depressing to see where things are in about
Yeah.
5 or 6 years.
I think I used to say it'll be interesting to see how it all works out, and I said that 6 months ago, but now, the interesting part is come and gone.
Yeah, it's like, oh, now we're just stuck with the bad part.
Yeah. Do you see, like, a light, of hope? You mentioned hope. Do you see us coming out okay in the end?
I I have to hope. I have to hope for that. Because if you're not hopeful, if you don't give yourself some bit of like optimism, your mind is going to just break from
Yeah.
all the terrible stuff that happens in the world. But I have there's been some stuff that's actually been changing. I think citizens and people in general are just paying closer attention, which has been a problem in the
Yeah.
past, is that no one cared. And any politician, really, anywhere you go, politically speaking, it's very easy for them to get away with stuff because they do so much and everything, but also because it's kind of hard to go and look for it,
Mhm.
and find that. But I'm starting to see, I'm not just me, but other people in like my local community, in areas around me are finding this information and talking about it. So, and they're holding people to account. And I think we're going to, at least where I'm at in the US, maybe hopefully in Canada, other countries, people are starting to say, let's pay attention here.
Yeah.
Not because it's like, it's a bummer. I
Yeah.
don't if I could shut my brain off and not pay attention to politics or what's going on a local level, I would, because it's kind
Yeah.
of annoying. But you have to. You have to take it's a spoonful of sugar. It helps the medicine go down.
Yeah. I I don't know what it would be like to be in America right now, especially with what happened this week. I wasn't planning on going here at all, but it was a hard week, and like a lot of Canadians are angry at what happened, and I'm one of them. And of course, there's
Thank
people
you.
who are like, "Oh, you have no right to be angry. You're not American." But an innocent woman was shot to death for no reason, and
Yeah.
this is like breaking out in arguments even at work. There's people who are taking
Oh,
sides.
really?
Yeah,
It where you're at?
yeah,
That's
where I'm at, yeah.
dang. It's so funny. I just posted something on Facebook about it today because it's true.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've ever watched the movie Iron Giant.
Yes, a long
Yeah,
time ago. Yeah.
and there's like I think it's the FBI agent Mansley, and like the way some people talk about the incident, it's very clear they are beholden to authority figures. And I'm like, there are legitimately people out there who would watch the Iron Giant and side with Mansley. They
Hmm.
would be sitting there going, well, what did you expect, town? Of course a missile's going to be fired at you. You didn't comply and hand over the giant. And it's like, that is an insane level of thinking. And it is disheartening to see it like play out and stuff.
Yeah.
And it sucks that it's bleeding over into other countries too.
Yeah, and
Like,
that's I think that's what's also igniting some of the anger here in Canada is because there's discourse on the subject. Which should, in my mind, it should all be like that was tragic, that was an awful thing that happened.
right.
Instead, we're having the exact same arguments that you guys are having, and that shows that we have a lot of the same political issues that you guys are going through right now. It's just that right now our government is run by someone who's somewhat sane, but there is a little guy who wants to become the leader, and he lost the last election, but he could easily come back. And
That's
he's just
terrifying.
a little miniature Trump. When Trump invaded
Mm.
Venezuela, this guy Polyev, he congratulated Trump on that, like a big long congratulations, and it was just like, oh God, really?
That is insane.
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of Canadians who back it too. There's a whole bunch of Canadians who want to become the 51st state and all that.
That is wild to me because I like Canada, just like people in Canada, in my opinion, anyways. Obviously, you can correct me if I'm wrong because you live there, but just have it better. Like you
Mm,
have actual social safety nets, and I mean, I talk to, there's some incredible people that I'm friends with in the horror community and in real life, and here in America, like we don't have good healthcare,
yeah,
like to begin with, but it's also so expensive, and it's like disgusting across the board. And like, if you end up in a situation where you're just denied coverage, it's over for you.
yeah.
You're done. And so, I mean, in Canada, there's no paywall to be alive.
Well, it's not as good as all that because we do have our own like conservatives run where I'm at in Ontario.
Hmm.
Our premier is a conservative,
Oh,
and
okay.
he's trying to gut out our healthcare system. He's trying to make it look
Oh,
bad so
really?
that he can bring in privatization.
That's their whole
And
deal.
so
That's all they ever do.
yeah, and so like if you're a person who's sick and needs certain kind of medication for like a certain type of cancer, let's just say it's like bowel
Mhm.
cancer,
Yeah.
um, you have to pay for the medication. Where in other periods of time, we might have had something to help with that. But yeah, we're like totally way off base here.
Sorry. Yeah.
Uh,
Oof.
we're here to talk about the stuff that takes us away from all this garbage, right?
You would hope, but
This does bring up an interesting question, though. As a horror writer, do you see yourself adapting any of this type of stuff into your own work?
yeah, I that's a good question because I mean, it's been a it's been a year and a half since I was last on, and I don't know how many of my books you've read in total. Besides,
I've read two. I've
okay,
read
just
two.
okay. I didn't know how many more, but like I kind of with Drowning in the Drink, I kind of realized I might have like found my niche of kind of exploring these real world social issues through the lens
Hmm.
of horror because it's so good at playing as like a metaphor for it and making it way more digestible. So I don't like not necessarily all the just straight political aspects of it to me unfold in my writing, but over the past like year or two, I would say now like the one you just read, Everything But the Skin, that we're going to talk about, it doesn't have those kind of elements in it. It's still talking about social issues and all of
Yeah,
that stuff, but I'm really starting to focus on like wealth inequality and how it's the wealthy that are really destroying our world.
yeah.
And I'm really starting to put that in my my books and everything. And I'm working on one right now that involves a couple that had their son die because he was hit by a car.
Hmm.
Um, and the person who hit him was the son of the wealthy man who owns like everything in their small town. And
Hmm.
so there's my thoughts with the book is to show like how this kind of these wealthy individuals suck up every little bit of a town and
Yeah.
basically make it to where no one has any other options than to just have a bad, terrible life until we come together. And solidarity is the big thing I'm trying to get in my books, as of late. So, and I think that's very pressing, especially with wealth inequality in the world now. I think we need more people addressing that and trying to get people to class consciousness. Like there's yeah, there are bad apples in the world, but we have a lot more in common when we realize it's an up versus down
Yeah.
situation.
You're right. It's a small part of the population that's doing all this, right?
Yeah.
But people seem to be standing together. I think that's if the right doesn't win what they want
Mhm.
to get, they want to take over basically. If they don't win, it'll be because we stuck together. And
Yeah.
I've been to blame to say that, we just don't learn as a human race. We just don't learn. But I think I'm wrong because you see people going out in droves protesting.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's got to be a part of it though, right? Like adding art to the protest. But do
Right.
you do you ever fear that if things really go south that this could be used against you?
Some days I think about that, but at the same time, like I said, I'm a big sort of proponent of history, and there was a there was a big-ish figure at the turn of the 20th century in America. He ran for president four times here, and his name is Eugene Debs. He was a socialist, and he stood up for what he believed in, and that got him thrown in prison
Hmm.
falsely too. But he and very famously he ran for president while being in jail. Only time that's
That's good.
happened.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah. And so, but he eventually got pardoned, but he was in there for I want to say 5 6 years. And it's people like that and other people in the horror community that speak out consistently on stuff like this. Gabino Iglesias, Laurel Hightower, just to name a few, who use conviction. It's inspiring, and it's at the end of the day, I wouldn't feel right if I didn't speak up in my writing and in my art about these issues because one, it would be a disservice to everyone who reads my stuff, but two, it's just the wrong thing to do when you have a platform and you can speak on that and you
Yeah,
just actively don't.
absolutely. Yeah. That's the only way that a good can come out in the other end, shining,
Yeah.
right? Oh, excuse me.
Oh, you're
Um,
good.
well, it's this Coca-Cola I'm drinking
Oh
here.
my gosh.
It's
Are you
repeating
sponsored?
it. No, but Coke, if you're paying attention, I am open to sponsorship here. Wouldn't that be funny if the next episode's like brought to you by Coca-Cola?
You're just wearing a Coca-Cola shirt.
Yeah. Coca-Cola hat. Yeah, I remember I first found you by watching and I mentioned this the first time we talked. I first found you through TikTok,
Yeah.
and I haven't been as like active on TikTok as I was back in those days. But are you still pretty? Are you going strong there still?
Oh, yeah, strong enough. I found like a really great group of individuals thanks to TikTok who have become good like acquaintances and friends, and they've been pretty supportive of like my books and my work. So
Nice.
I hang around, and not hang around just for them, but it's nice. And then also, there's been this nice sort of shift on TikTok of people like realizing like, hey, maybe we are all in this together. And there are petty differences across social medias and stuff like that. But I
Mhm.
feel like on TikTok, people are starting to coalesce more. And also, it's just easier to do content through TikTok,
Yeah. I
through
I
everywhere else.
I should go back to it. I don't know. I didn't stop for any
In
like
reason.
political or any reason. I tend to bounce between apps.
Yeah.
Right now I'm really into like Instagram Reels for some reason.
Okay.
I don't
Ew. No, go back to TikTok.
Boo.
I
Right.
every Instagram reel I just is a repost from TikTok because
Yeah,
I
that's
just I
true. That's true.
don't like reels comparatively.
I say
There's
Radar's like, yeah, I gotta go. I'm
ah,
leaving.
well, this was
Interview
a good
over.
interview. I'll see you later.
You stand up and leave. I'm like, I must have hit a nerve there.
I don't even turn off the camera. I just leave my
Yeah,
own.
you just leave and it's like, Radar.
You coming back?
You used to do over there. You used to do the Saturday scary stories. Do you still do those?
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I still write them every day over on Blue Sky, and so
Nice.
every once
Oh,
in
what was that always on Blue Sky that you did that, or did you start that somewhere else? Like,
that got started on Twitter, but
yeah, that's where I remember it
oof,
from. Yeah,
and
yeah.
Twitter's not good.
Twitter's a dumpster fire for sure.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's not
I
good
don't
right.
know. I don't know if I'm following you on Blue Sky, so I'm gonna have to check into that and see.
I don't know. I have no idea who follows me
Yeah.
or who I follow on Blue Sky. Blue Sky's just like a different feel, and I only do Blue Sky for the most part for those daily morning like little scary snippets that I
Oh
can.
yeah. Well, I miss those, honestly. I used to see them all the time,
Oh,
both video form and on TikTok. And like I said, like I'm not on. I go to Twitter, but only for baseball updates because that's the best place to get baseball updates, and to yell at some Republicans here and there because
gotta get that.
every time I open it up is some person saying something terrible.
Yeah, probably terrible or just completely unhinged.
And sometimes I try to control myself. I try, but it's not easy.
And it doesn't help that like that's their whole deal is that
Yeah.
like, they're trying to goad you for engagement, and they do
Oh,
it
yeah.
so well. It's so
Yeah.
annoying.
It's like they're not even gonna read this. There's already 2,000 comments.
Oh,
Anyways,
yeah.
but I was asking that for a reason. You still write a lot of flash fiction. You're not writing it every day though, are you?
Besides that, those like stories that I do every morning, just
Hmm.
those little small posts.
Yeah.
Not too much flash fiction because I had a kiddo back in the summer, and so
Well,
well,
congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, I don't advertise it often because my private life I'm a lot more
Private.
private.
Yeah.
The irony, but yeah, it's so, and I know you have kids, and so like getting obviously any parent will
It
tell you
it
it takes a lot of time.
it does take a lot of time and energy, and you don't get too much sleep, especially the first few months.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, those oof. Really, people don't stress how rough that first like month or two is gonna be.
Yeah.
Oh
It
my.
nobody tells you that, or even if they do, you're not prepared to
Yeah,
really understand it until you actually go through it.
you cannot comprehend that until you're in the moment
Yeah,
dealing with it, and it's
it's
like,
hard.
what? Yeah, it's so difficult going like, why is this baby crying? What is the reason behind it? We've done everything, literally
Yeah,
everything. Every want or need of this child has been taken care of, and it's
yeah,
just that's what they do,
yeah,
at least for that first month or two.
yeah, and it's hard. It's very hard. But I was wondering, like, do you have any plans on releasing another book of flash fiction like you did with A Year Spent in Horror?
Oh man, that's a good question. I think about it from time to time because you and I both know Gemma Moore did the cover, and she did.
Yeah,
It was so cool. God, I
it's.
would
I
love
mean,
to do
although it is your face,
it. It is
like
my face.
your face being burnt to a crisp.
I'm fine with
I'm
that.
fine with that.
I'm
Yeah,
all right with
it
that.
it may happen someday anyway, right?
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, well, I don't want to go through that in real life, but hey,
No.
it's a great
It
image.
yeah, it is cool. I actually came across because I always, even though we've talked before, I always
Mhm.
do a little research into the authors I'm talking to, and so I went to, I forget where it was, but I saw that picture of the original picture of your face that
Oh
you
yeah.
sent to Gemma, and then of course the outcome. Which I have that book. I just haven't read it yet. I gotta pull up my socks and read it. I mean, it's flash fiction, right?
It is. It is. Well, you know what? You gotta do it the right way. You gotta read one a day. So in another
Ah,
year, you can come
yes.
back and tell me.
You know what? If if there's no calendar on it, then I can start today.
There is no calendar.
Well, shit. What am I waiting for? I'll just. That's a
No
good
excuses.
idea. No excuses. I'll do that. Yeah.
It's like someone said it's like a really creepy daily affirmation kind of where you do it first thing in the morning.
You know that you could do something like that. You could have like some terrible thing. You have one of those flip calendars that people would put on their
Yeah.
desk and have like all these awful things
All
and
these little
pictures and
awful stories and
yeah,
stuff.
awful stories and awful pictures. Yeah, you
Dang
could
it.
totally freak people out at the office.
If I was smart enough to have a desk calendar made, I would be jumping on this idea right now.
He's totally. You know what? Pack it, put it away for a little bit, and then come back to it.
Come back.
I think because you write so much flash fiction, I think you could pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, been doing it for around 4 or 5 years. So just the amount of stories, and not all of them are winners. Let's
Mhm.
let's get this straight.
Well,
But
that's not easy when you're doing
yeah,
them so often, right?
yeah. But I mean, there's at least 900 salvageable ones in there, probably.
Yeah.
So I could do at least another one or two of those books.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Otherwise, why
Um,
am I doing it? What am I doing?
yeah. I mean, they got to go somewhere, right?
I
Why
hope
why not into other people's hands and their desks or their walls?
their walls up.
Yeah. Well, we could do a wall thing for sure.
We can
Yeah.
do a wall. For some reason, I thought you meant inside the walls, and I'm like, what are they doing? Why are they putting books in their walls?
Well, if you're going inside the wall, we're going into completely different territory
Yeah,
here.
it's a very weird version of Cask of Amontillado is occurring.
Yeah. You appear, but even with like the short fiction, or not the short fiction, the flash fiction and whatnot, you appear to be pretty prolific. Now with a kid in your life now, like a little tiny bundle of joy that cries a lot. How often do you write these days?
I mean, it's sporadic. You kind of get it in when you can.
Yeah.
My goal for myself every month is, can I get 3,000 or 4,000 words in?
Nice.
Which that didn't happen for December, the
Well,
holidays and stuff.
it's December. Yeah.
Yeah, it's December.
Yeah.
I also don't almost ever get anything written in December.
Yeah.
Um,
Me
yeah,
too.
that's it's just the way it is. But I feel like 3,000, 4,000 words. So I'm pulling back again a bit, but it's like it seems like I'm prolific, but all my books are pretty short, and there was this like basically back in December 2024. It was a weird job situation where my company was like, we're gonna fire you. But my
Oh,
boss,
nice.
yeah, my boss was like, wait a minute, you can't fire him at the beginning of December. It's the holidays. What are you doing? And
Yeah.
so he kind of like shamed them into letting me stay on for 6 weeks. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to work. Like I'm not gonna actually do work for you guys.
Yeah.
So I just wrote the whole time. And so like the 6 week period, I managed to get like 3 novellas written and just churned
Nice.
out in that time frame. It helps when you're mad.
Yeah.
Certainly, when you're like, I've been slighted, which I was, but and so like I have this kind of buildup of just like various novellas. So for a little bit now, I have all this material that I'm just trying to find a home for. So it'll probably look like I'm still being prolific, and people are gonna go, "Wow, how
He
is he able
writes
to?"
a lot, man. Like,
Yeah, they're like, "Wow," and then with a kid too. But it's all a lie because it's stuff that's like
it's
two
a
years
lot.
ago. I'm like, someone please take this.
You're not supposed to say that, right? Are you supposed to
Well,
say, despite all this, I'm on top of it, dude.
I
I'm
just
on
have my
top
life
of it.
together
Yeah.
magically.
Everything works perfectly for me. But yeah, like real life gets in the way. I mean, yeah, on the surface it does look like you're prolific, but it's okay if you're not.
I
I
certainly am not.
every time I come up with this question, I know I'm going to get yelled at for it, because everyone's like, "I'm not prolific, god damn it."
How
Like,
dare
okay,
you
okay,
say? How dare
okay,
you compliment me?
yeah. What would you say is your favorite part of the writing process?
Oh man. Oh God. What? This question's really good. In the fact that it's like a stumper.
Yeah.
I think it's just like living for me because I formulate the idea and then I kind of just sit on it because I don't have time ever to write it out. So like I write that, I'm able to write like the idea comes. I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good. And I write the
Hmm.
first chapter, maybe two, and then I have to kind of just sit on it for a while I wait for, the next weekend to show up. And I think that that part of just like getting to sit on the idea and letting it kind of grow in my mind, like a little
Yeah.
weed advancing out, is just so cool. I love that, and I get so pumped thinking of these ideas. I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna be awesome. And then I write it, and I'm like, wow, oh
How does it often compare? Like, because I love that part too. When it's in your head and before you've even started writing it, it's like almost the perfect thing, right? And you're
yeah.
like, this is going to be awesome. But then you write it and it's nowhere near like what you envisioned at the beginning. What's that process like? Does it ever come out better, or is it always better when it was in your mind?
Always better in the mind. But I will
Yeah.
say, I as like I've gone on and continued to write and just try to improve myself and get better, I've gotten to the point where it's like in my head it's fantastic. It's like up here at the peak. And then I
Yeah.
put it on paper and I do that first draft and I'm like, oh God, what is this garbage? And that first round of edits going like, what is this? And it's, this like self-doubt of like, oh God, this is bad. And then
Hmm.
I always leave it alone for a month or like couple months just to like have it kind of be fresh in my mind when I go back to it. And when I go back for that second round of edits, I'm like, I wrote this. This is good.
Yeah.
I wrote this. I don't think so. That's not me.
I
Someone climbed on my computer here. It's not me.
Yeah, I've experienced all that too. I went through a period actually where I hated everything I wrote, but I wasn't very happy. Like I was at a job I hated and everything.
Ah, gotcha.
And so I wasn't like a happy camper in the first place. And so it was like coming out in my work too, but that's part of the process sometimes. You're like, this isn't working. And sometimes you have to figure out why, but if you're tired all the time, it's hard to do that.
Yeah.
Do you find that you found any, like, considering what you're going through now, being a new dad, have you found any remedies towards that?
I mean, I think it's just to be driven to write and
Yeah.
just keep it in your mind that like don't beat up on yourself of like, oh, I didn't get to anything today. Don't set necessarily like a strict goal. Instead, go like, I'm gonna write when I can, and whatever I get, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's been tough for. It was tough for me for a little bit there for like a couple months because before the kiddo came into the world, my whole mindset was like, oh, you got to get 7,000 words in today.
Today, this morning, by
No
eight
one's
o'clock.
asking
Yeah.
for it, but I'm telling myself that's what you need to do. And so that was my always my mentality. And now that I'm in this position, it's like I don't need to necessarily churn out something every 2 to 3 months because one, that's exhausting.
Yeah.
I have learned that is not a recipe for success. Unless you can do that, then go for it. Uh, but like that's the first part. But the next part is no one's gonna forget you if it's been 5 or 6 months or hell even a year since your last book.
Mhm.
People are not goldfish. They're not like it's not like Haley Piper. Is like takes sometimes she takes a while in between her book releases, and it's not like 8 months have gone by and people are like, "Hey, have you heard of this new person, Haley Piper? I've never heard of."
Yeah.
That's not what happens. So,
Yeah,
if
you're right.
yeah, if your books have made an impact and you have a readership, they're going to show up for you.
Yeah.
So just
The interesting
don't beat
thing
yourself
with
up.
Haley Piper's, when she first broke onto the scene, it seemed like she was releasing a book every 6 months.
Oh
And
yeah.
I
So
I'm thinking I don't know, so I can't make any weird claims here, but I speculate that maybe a lot of the stuff she like before she made a breakthrough and started getting stuff publishing or
mhm.
started publishing, maybe she was putting out stuff that she had already written and like,
Right.
like not necessarily trunk novels, but books she had out shopping or she was shopping out anyway, and they were starting to take because she was getting a big name for herself.
I
I don't
mean,
know though.
yeah, I can't fault her. You written it, you know.
Yeah,
I
I
can't.
mean, she's amazing though.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, her work is pretty. It's pretty damn good.
It's
Uh,
it's crazy good. Like, and then when I say crazy, I put an emphasis on crazy because it's
yes.
her stories are sometimes they're bizarre, but I absolutely that's why I love them too.
Yeah, I love how, and I is Haley Piper still indie?
I think
I
so.
don't know. Okay,
I think so. I
it's
think she's
very
breaking into, but
breaking into. Okay,
she's
it's
breaking into the higher echelon, I think. I'm not too sure.
okay, yeah, because I mean, to me, I love just how original and weird horror is kind of getting. Like
Yeah,
now, there's so many crazy ideas that it's like, who that like that just I do in my writing or that I'm seeing other people do that I'm like, this is fantastic. These
yeah,
stories probably wouldn't have existed 15, 20 years ago, at this level of weird stuff. And I love that it's coming through in waves.
yeah. You're absolutely right. And that's what I love about the horror genre right now too. It's crazy, but it's crazy good.
Yes.
And for you, it's been good to you lately too, because at the end of you used to self-publish, but you're breaking into the indie scene now, like of like smaller publishers.
Yeah.
Um, and at the end of 2025, I think it was in December, you released a book. And at the beginning here of 2026, you released a book. Uh,
Ye-
yeah,
Yes.
that's pretty good. Like, were there any more during 2025, or is it just the Violet book?
Yeah.
Violet.
So there was one back in April of 2025. So
Yeah,
there's
and
that
here
one.
you are. You know,
Oh well.
I'm not prolific,
It
Jason.
was actually 3. No, no, but that one in April is a novelette,
Okay,
very
yeah.
short. You know, it if there's probably snooty enough people who are like, this is actually a short story. Like
You do that quite well. I love that.
it's me. I'm the one who's saying that. But no, it's very short. But and then yeah, the Violet Glow came out in October, and then Everything But the Skin, the most recent one, came out this week. It came out this week. So
Which one's that? Was that Everything But the Skin? Because
yeah,
I read it like I finished it a couple weeks ago, and so I'm not always on the ball with like
right.
release dates, right?
Hey, that's fair. No, it because it did have like a limited release 2 or 3 weeks ago on God.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So did you probably get it off Godless or?
No, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure I got it. Didn't you send me a copy?
Oh
No,
wait,
I
yeah.
think I ended up did getting it. I did get it off Amazon, I think. So
Okay.
yeah.
Listen, I would have no idea. My brain is pretty fried from being a father. So
You know what? That's okay. My brain is just fried. So
it's right. It's done.
yeah,
Yeah, but it was a solid. I mean, 3 books in a year is like pretty damn good, I would
yeah,
say.
absolutely.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
especially because I found some really good presses, like the one that released the Violet Glow, Trueborn,
Trueborn. Yeah,
fantastic. Christina Osborne, a magnificent human being. I just love working with her on it, and it was just easy from start to finish. She had some great and it's I think this is my crowning jewel of my writing career so far is that Christina got Laurel Hightower to blurb the book, and
nice.
I Laurel's my favorite writer of all time.
She's one of
So
mine too, for sure. Yeah.
it's just a huge honor. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I can tell. You're like over the moon. Yeah, I would be too.
oh yeah, I still get giddy thinking about it. It is wild to know that once she blurbed it. But we're solid. Like I haven't ever met her in person, but I would say we have a pretty good rapport on social media. I'd say we're fairly close, friend wise on there, and it's so fantastic that someone that could make stories that are that good
Mhm.
knows who I am
Yeah,
and like
and then
read
blurbs
something.
your yeah, that's incredible. Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, and then and of course the one that released everything but the skin, Uncomfortably Dark, is run by Candice Nola, who is just incredible human being, just
Yeah,
across the board. And
absolutely.
so it's pretty fairly effort. Like I still have to put effort in, obviously, but compared to self-publishing, the effort is so much more minimal,
Yeah.
so much nicer. And Candice knows, and Christina also, they know what they're doing. So like they just have a way to get this in the hands of people who haven't read my stuff before, and that's nice too.
Do you like working with, both those I'm assuming because
Yeah.
you're praising them, but was the experience for both, publishers really good?
Oh yeah, I would 10 out of 10. Like for both, um, there's and they're very writer first
Mhm.
with their stuff, and they're very clear on that from the start. So I there was honestly, I'm a pretty big pushover too, honestly. Not for other people's things, I really stand up for their stuff, but for my own stuff,
Mhm.
I do not stand up for myself. So it's very nice to have people who are just automatically advocating for me. So through
Yeah.
the whole process of getting the book like put together, Christina would reach out with something, and I would go like, yeah, I mean, maybe we could add this little detail here, if that's
Mhm.
okay. And she would come back and be like, yeah, I mean, don't. She's literally like, do not be afraid to be way more verbal about it than that. What the
Yeah.
hell are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
she's like, put your foot down, please. So that was just kind of nice. But it was really like really easy across the board, and with Candace too. Like, and she had some really good kind of editor notes for me and stuff on everything but the skin. And like it was great because she reached out after sending it and was like, I want you to know these are just recommendations and suggestions. So it's not
Mhm.
me trying to butcher what you have put on the paper.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you didn't because you made it better. So, but I
What
appreciate that.
what are line edits from, Candice Nola like?
Man, it's like it's funny. It's like that. It feels like the teacher who really cares about her student
Mhm.
and like and they're doing a project on something and it's clearly not going in the right direction, but they don't want the student to like they don't want to flat out tell the student what they need to do, so
Mhm.
they're steering like a really polite, nice, kind steering in the right direction of like, hey, you know
Yeah,
this
interesting.
this there's a particular scene in the book that I'm sure you remember of. I guess this would be minor spoilers, so I won't talk about it, but involving the flagpole.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and she was like, I think people would probably be acting a little bit more concerned. Like that's the kind of edit, and it's like, oh yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. Yeah, that flagpole scene, man. I I was like, "Damn, radar."
I know it's well, and it I because the other book of mine you've read, Drowning in the Drink, a completely different vibe and feel, I'm sure.
Yeah. But, I liked reading it. I like that type of stuff, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So
But I wanna touch briefly upon the violet glow of the Daytons,
yes.
because, I was gonna try to read both books before this interview, but I do read a lot of books for this podcast, and
Good.
so it just didn't fit, so
It
I
didn't happen.
couldn't do it, but can you tell us what it's about?
Yeah, and this is I think the Violet Glow is probably my peak so far writing wise, or maybe I have peaked and it's all downhill from here. So if you're listening to the
It's all
podcast,
downhill.
let you if you pick up my future books, it's just going to be worse. It's going to be bad. No, but I really love the style of it. But so basically, this young Janelle, this young woman, goes with her mom to clean out her great great grandmother's house, and the great grandma, like, and her ancestor was a bitch. No one liked her. No one cared about her. But while she's cleaning out the house, she finds her great great grandmother's diary, and she figures out how her great great grandmother was able to live for so long, because she lived for almost 150 years.
Hmm.
Um, almost unnaturally long.
Yeah.
And so, and soon enough, the entity that made a deal with her great great grandmother comes to her with the same offer,
Hmm.
and it's like, do you accept this? And I really love the way I set the book up, because it's not linear. It's not linear. So the first chapter is the beginning of the story, and the second
Hmm.
chapter is the end.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then like it alternates back and forth until the book ends at the middle of the story. So it's more of a journey than, say, trying to get to that destination. And because because I set it up that way, there's information that's withheld. That if it was a linear story, these wouldn't really be plot twists.
Yeah.
But because it's non-linear, you get these twists that like wouldn't occur in traditional storytelling, and I loved to do that.
That's interesting because I want. Well, that's what makes it. I want to read it, and and I'm gonna have to now. But it's interesting because nothing but the flesh has sort of a non-linear sort of feel to it as well. Uh, I was gonna ask, is that difficult to write? But it seems like you enjoy doing that, like because you kind of go back and forth in time until the end, it all comes together and it makes sense. Uh, how do you write? Do you plot this out, or do you write by the seat of your pants and you're like, oh, this is where it's going?
I have like the overtones, and I have this is how I want it to end.
Uh huh.
And then from there, it's just kind of fly by the pants type deal, where you're like,
Nice.
I have my main beats that I'm like, I'm going to hit this one for sure. I'm going to hit that flagpole scene for sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to have that scene in the cave. I'm going to have, and so it's all these little beats that eventually I'm just like, oh, my mind goes, okay, now I can put it together. And I've really come to enjoy that type of nonlinear storytelling.
Hmm.
It's different. It's something new. It gives me a chance to explore and try and be weird. Um,
Yeah.
and I just recently finished, like a month or two after my son was born. I managed to get some free time. It's doesn't have a home yet,
Hmm.
but it's a book that's kind of told through a bunch of various perspectives. So there's your typical third person that occurs in it, but there's also a chapter that's just the contents in a case file,
Hmm.
the contents in the evidence locker at a police station. And a lot of it is IM chats and stuff like that. So it's all these different, and newscasts, all these different ways of like narratives of like different channels and stuff. And it doesn't necessarily, it's not like a straightforward, let me tell you what happened in the story. It's
Hmm.
more of you gather bits of pieces and this evidence of what happened. uh,
Nice.
and I love doing stuff like that. And I'm gonna keep going with it, because it's just so much more fulfilling for me.
Well, if it lights your fire, then man, you got to. Yeah,
Yeah, oh yeah,
absolutely.
and it really does.
Well, it worked really well
Oh,
with
thank
nothing but the skins. At first, I'm like, "What's going on here?" And then I started actually reading the chapter titles, and I was like, "Oh, okay. So we're going back and forth here, and that's great." Because I
Another Candace note, by the way, because those did not have the time, like
oh, nice.
years, on those
Yeah.
chapter titles. So it was just the chapters. And Candace went, I know you love that nonlinear storytelling, but it might be a bit confusing to everyone who's not you.
Yeah.
It's true.
True enough, right? But I think it would have worked anyway because I realized I'm bad for not reading chapter titles for some reason. If there's like a chapter title like the White Road, right, or the Yellow Sign, something like that,
Yeah.
I just go right for the text. I skip that. It's like in my brain, it's like, oh, it's just a new chapter. Let's go. Right. So
Right.
if there's dates there, I tend to miss them. But I realized that we were going back and forth, and that it was the two timelines were kind of coming together into, the finale of the story. And at the same time that I was like, oh, there's dates on these things.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
You did a. It's like every once in a while, I'm like, you see the stuff from online of someone's like equation where it's like you did the wrong method, but you somehow got the right answer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of it. I used the wrong freaking formula here.
You did hard mode, and easy was
Yeah.
right there.
Well, I want to congratulate you too on Nothing But the Skin making it to #1
Yeah,
on the Amazon horror new release titles. Like that's got to be thrilling.
that
Uh, I
that was
mean,
very nice.
that's the upper echelon here, man. Like usually it's only like Stephen King who makes it there, right?
Well, for a brief 4 to 6 hour period there, I was almost in the same field as Stephen King. No, but it feels really good because it was it was in LGBTQ horror, so that's also nice too because
Yeah.
um, I'm not part of that community, but the characters in the book are, and
Yeah.
it's nice to get, and everyone who's read and reviewed it so far, uh, they haven't really mentioned that part of it, but it's nice to know that they're enjoying the story and everything, and that I can kind of do service to those voices and stuff at the same time, while also getting a little bit of personal success. So
Yeah. I think maybe the main story kind of dwarfs the LGBTQ end because you're kind of making a point on the witch trials too.
yeah, yeah,
And I felt that was like maybe even more important because a lot of innocent people were killed, right?
yeah, and it's something that, and someone did point this out. Like I made a video talking about why I wrote this on TikTok,
Mhm.
why I wrote everything but the skin. And someone commented and said, "Are you sure you're talking about things that happened centuries ago? Because I seen some modern parallels." And it's very unfortunate that it does keep happening, and that this sort of thing occurs again and again and again. And in the book with the town Shallow Root, they've done all the stuff that happens historically with this, is that they had this paranoia, they had this sort of mob mentality, a few people did something really awful,
Mhm.
and then they covered it up. They didn't address it. There's this issue, this terrible thing that's occurred, and they would rather sweep it under the rug
Yeah.
than address it. It's just that in this instance, you pissed off a witch. you
Yeah.
know
So what I was going to ask because I did see that video,
Mhm.
and you start off with saying, "Well, first I wanted to write a badass witch story,"
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and I think you did that. But what was like the very kernel? What was? Do you remember what it was that made you go, "Oh, I have a story idea," and what the genesis of the story was?
I I remember I was doing my first book selling event, which was like Comic Con in my city, Wichita. So
Hmm.
I was at that. The event was not good, not for me, but
Hmm.
uh, it had really bad traffic. But it was basically, I was just sitting there one day, kind of like, I'm bored. I should come up with some book ideas or something. That's jangling around in my brain. And for some reason, I don't know why, just I was like, I haven't done anything with a witch, and I went, that's witches are fine, but like for me, I like doing the weird stuff. I like doing out there and new original things. And for me, vampires, werewolves, zombies, super boring,
Hmm.
unless you can do something cool and really unique with it, which
Yeah.
I didn't feel I could. But witches, for some reason, for me, because there's that supernatural element that comes into it,
Hmm.
I was like, I could probably do something with that. And as I'm sitting there, I'm like, how many? I mean, people have done cannibal witches, but how much with this specific like way of eating people have they done that? you know, how many witches have people written about that leave behind the skin as like a kind of calling card? So I was like, that's such a cool idea. So and that little nugget started it, and then all this other stuff of like, the kind of connotation in the historical context of what happened with witches came into it, and it just naturally kind of filled itself out with all
Nice.
those elements in it.
Yeah. Did you have or was there any scene, specifically any scene that you had any like trouble writing? Did any
Ooh,
scene give you like a good struggle? You're like, oh, I just can't get it right.
I I think kind of I feel like the scene where Sophia has that sleepover kind of bit, and for me it was more of like, is the dialogue that's happening here, does that make sense? Like, is that realistic, or is it just hokey and cheesy?
Hmm.
And two, like, I'm not good. I don't really try romantic sort of things,
Hmm.
Uh, and so that part was hard for me to get that in a place because I kept second guessing myself as I was writing it, which is very funny because the other stuff, all the gore and all that stuff came super easy flowed out. I knew
Yeah,
exactly how it
that's
was going to go. But something as simple as a kiss, I was like, how do you describe a kiss? What do you do with a kiss?
yeah.
So that's what really gave me problems.
That brings up a good, interesting point because I find that writing like the nasty stuff is just fun and because it's fun, it's easy. But when it comes to like trying to express something that's deep, meaningful to me, I struggle like hell pulling that stuff out and like bleeding on the page basically. I
Right.
struggle with bleeding on the page. Every time I start to write something that's deeply personal, it ends up being the piece of work that I struggle with the most and
Mm.
oftentimes it gets abandoned. Do you have any issues like that?
I did for a really long time until I wrote Drowning in the Drink, and
Mhm.
like it was really cathartic to put that on the page.
Yeah.
And what helped a lot was there were so many people out there that resonated with it, and so I really just kind of take a chunk of my heart with every book and just drop it into the pages. This is all metaphorical, by the way. Just want to make that
You
clear.
sure there's no scars?
There's a bunch of my chest is really messed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is cathartic, and it just relates better with people too because you're actually putting some of yourself into it,
Yeah.
and it's as I've done it more and more, it has gotten easier to tap into that. um yeah, I because with Drowning in the Drink, it was difficult. There were times where I would kind of tear up or like go, I can't.
Well,
you know
that was a hard read too, but it was a good hard read, like
well,
because
thank
it felt very honest. I think I told you that because that's the book we were talking about the first time you came on,
Yeah.
and I remember that was like a tough read, but it was tough because it was so honest.
Yeah, and that's just a lot of how I was feeling at the time and and that's just how I feel now anyways, but a lot of that raw emotion coming out on that page. And I just do that, and I keep doing that with every book. So there, thankfully, I haven't had any personal connection to the situations that happen and everything but the skin, or the violet glow for that matter. But I have witnessed people that I care about having that kind of thing happen to them, or just witnessing it on social media. Those kind of
Yeah.
aspects occur, and it's for me, it's heart wrenching. And to have empathy for others is one of the. It really is a nice way to make us humans. It is a fantastic feeling, but it's a double-edged sword because if you have so much empathy for people, it just breaks your heart when
Yep.
bad things happen.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. I would like to say that I have gotten over that hump myself. This was during that period when I hated everything I wrote, but
Oh yeah.
I've come out of that because I'm happier a person now. So
You love to see it. You love to see it. You know.
But I am able, but I like to ask people this because there's other writers out there who listen to the show who are probably struggling with their own ideals, right, and whatnot. So because I've struggled with it, I know other
Yeah.
people have, and so yeah, I like to shine a light on it a little bit.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's I feel like it maybe gets swept under the rug too. Not swept under the rug, but just kind of swept away, and all the good vibes and stuff that happen on social media
yeah,
with writers and stuff. And it's like, if you feel like you're not enough, or that you're having difficulty writing something, or that you feel like there's not an audience for what you're doing, you're not alone. I feel like
yeah,
almost every writer goes through that, and I'll stand up and say, yeah, I go through that
yeah.
all the time.
Now, to defend Instagram Reels a little bit here, I saw an Instagram reel the other day where somebody went through all the good things that they posted online, but they also posted on this one reel all the bad things that were happening simultaneously. So she was like, "Remember when I posted that I won this award for this? What I didn't post was that also got the diagnosis of cancer."
Oh, wow.
And remember when I posted this that we had like my son won this award or something like that. I can't remember specifics. And then she was like, "This is what I didn't post was that something terrible that happened." It was quite the interesting but maybe you didn't go through quite that hard of a time, but still,
Yeah,
people tend to, there are people though that post all their bad stuff too.
that is
There is
true.
that side, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like there might be a happy medium, but with a lot of like when you see successful authors like your Laurel Hightowers, and your Gambino Iglesiases, and so on and so forth, Haley Pipers. It's kind of hard to remember that they're just people too. And just because, yeah, there's success there, there's also insecurities and
Yeah,
things like that beneath the surface. And Gemma Amore does a fantastic job of expressing her insecurities and addressing them and saying, this is how I feel. And
absolutely, yeah.
I always feel like she deserves more credit for doing that, because she's a fantastic writer, and yeah, she's had a lot of success, but along the way there's been pitfalls and hardships for her, and
Mhm.
I love that she addresses that.
I think that we all should, honestly, because it just
Yeah,
shows that we're human and w we weren't just handed things to us, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a procession, a progression too,
it,
that, uh,
both.
yeah, like, we were talking about earlier, like, it seems like you're prolific,
Yeah,
but there's a whole history behind you where all these
yeah,
books that you released 3 books in 1 year, and it looks like, "Wow, you're just pumping it out, aren't you? Way to go, bro," but you're like, "No, I have, like, a couple of years on these things that are just all coming
yeah.
out now," right?
And
Yeah.
there's like a couple of them. There's one right now that still hasn't found a home yet, hoping soon, but it's been rejected 6 or 7 times, book wise, and I'm pretty proud of the concept of it. Again, fairly nonlinear. The idea is weird, um, but I really wanted to find a home, and like is swept up in kind of the, oh, good vibes, like it finally found a home type deal. How many posts am I going to make about, oh yeah, at the same time it also got rejected a bunch of times, like
Yeah,
I,
true enough, yeah.
yeah,
But, you take, like, the big authors who uh, before they really, really made it, almost every author goes through that, right? Like,
yeah,
it's often, it's not the right time or it's not, the perfect fit for this publication. It's not against I guess not every reader knows this though, right? There's like, "Oh, it
mhm.
was rejected, like, it must suck."
Like no, yeah,
No,
there's
it's not always the right fit for a certain publisher.
yeah, and this happens a lot too. With that book I just mentioned, there was one publisher that it made it through, it made it through the sample, full manuscript. It made it through the second round of kind of, weeding them out. So it was in the final running, because this publisher gets a lot of submissions, and it was really toward pretty close to the finish line. It just ended up getting rejected because it was like we just don't have the resources for it. And
Yeah.
it's like that's not on you as a writer. It's not on the publisher. It's just the reality,
Hmm.
you know. And but for me, I took comfort in that. But I don't know if other people will take comfort in that. But sometimes that's just the way the dice fall, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Uh, well, since we're on this topic, where do you see yourself and your writing in 5 years' time?
Oh my gosh, what? This is a crazy hard question. This is like interview question, but like that you get at a job interview, but on steroids, because I care more about my writing than I do getting a job. Um,
So,
that,
so tell me,
uh-oh.
radar. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Oh my goodness. I honestly, I give this in job interviews too. So if you want to know my story to getting gainful unemployment, listen up. But I always say I don't know in 5 years because so many things can change.
Yeah.
I like to keep an open mind. I would love to continue to have stuff published through Uncomfortably Dark with Candace Nola. I would love to have things, more things with Trueborn Press. I just know Christina is more selective with who she publishes, like who she goes to publish, and that's again not a her thing.
Hmm.
That's just the resources she has to her to allocate. So if I were to have a book come out through her, it's not like, oh, it's coming out 4 months from now, get ready. It's more like it's going to be a while before it gets there. But I would love to continue to partner with those two publishers for sure. um, I feel like I probably maybe in the next 5 years get an agent, but people have to know I exist first.
Yeah.
So
Well, we're trying. We're trying here.
we're trying here. Come on. What more do you want? Um,
It's radar.
Come on. Is that not enough? And any agent will go, no, I don't know who you are. That's no, it's not going to
Yeah.
come in. But maybe that someday. But ultimately, I'm my hope in the next 5 years is that more people know I exist and my stories have connected with more people than now at this moment. Um,
Yeah. Now that sort of where I was going with that question, not necessarily like how successful you'll be, but do you have like a vision for where your stories are going to go and where they might be in 5 years?
a lot of class conscious based stuff. I feel like
Yeah.
probably in the
I
in the
love that
mean.
stuff. So
Okay, there you go. Yeah. So I mean, I don't think I'll go full Les Mis at any, maybe not that on the nose like class consciousness, but there's been a few things kicking around in my brain that maybe like,
yeah.
but I'll just continue to do. Maybe I'll throw in a few linear stories, but I feel like I'm just going to keep doing more experimental, non-linear, or just interesting ways to tell the story. There's a few ideas in my head that I'm like, man, that's going to be great, but I can't formulate how to make it like a full book,
Yeah.
um, or like make it a coherent story, which obviously is important. So,
Yeah. All right. One more question, and then I will take the shackles off, and you can go.
finally, I'm free. Just kidding.
Now, you're a big movie guy.
I am.
You love movies, so let's just say uh, a company chooses that they're going to adapt one of your books today. This happens today. One of your books is going to be adapted to the big screen,
Oh,
and
man.
but you had the choice. So
Okay.
which book would it be? And also, you get the choice of who will direct it.
Oh my goodness, that is a
This this is like the lottery win
yeah. That's
situation here.
the whole shebang.
Yeah.
God, that is tough. I feel like God, it's probably a toss up between the Violet Glow and Everything But the Skin because I feel like those two have a lot of cinematic elements to them, and
Mhm.
I feel like The Violet Glow might actually be better as like a mini series on Netflix.
Nice.
So, and in terms of director, God, I can't even think of someone who would really do it justice because it's weird. What I'm writing is weird. I feel like not many not many movies are like that. If he's still alive though, David Cronenberg, I feel
Oh,
like
nice.
would do justice to it. I know it's not his typical scene because he does more sci-fi element, social commentary that leans more towards sci-fi
Hmm.
with it, but maybe maybe
The
he's.
the violet glow of the Daytons kind of has a sci-fi feel to it. Just the title, you
I
know.
can maybe trick him, bamboozle him, and with that one, and he's like, "Well, that sounds sci-fi-ish."
You tricked me, Radar.
How dare you? Even though I didn't clearly read the script, but how dare you?
Awesome answer. I like your pairing up there. That's great. All right. So, do you have any releases coming out soon that listeners can look forward to?
There will be more coming out this year. I'm
Nice.
sure of. I'm just not at liberty to disclose those yet.
That's
So,
fine. That's fine. But if there's something coming out, that's all we need to know.
yep. So I'm still around. My son hasn't slowed down my progress on getting these bad boys released just yet.
You may see it happen, but you might not too.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for coming on. It's always a blast talking to you. You're
Yeah,
always invited to come back on. So whenever you have something coming out, just reach out, man.
yeah,
Like you,
absolutely. You know,
and I'll
it's
hook you up.
fun.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, Radar.
Yep. See you, Jason.